The Galactic Council Chamber was the heart of order in the known universe. It was a place where the greatest powers of countless worlds gathered to decide the fate of civilizations. The chamber itself was built like a cathedral of light and stone, with a ceiling that stretched so high it seemed to touch the stars painted above. Thousands of eyes, thousands of forms, and thousands of voices filled the air with whispers and murmurs. At the center of this grand arena stood a single platform. Upon it were three humans, Ambassador Reyes, Commander Patel, and Dr. Elaine Carter. Compared to the towering alien figures surrounding them, the humans looked small, almost fragile. Yet there was something different about them. Something in their stillness, their steady gaze, and their silence. It was not the posture of the weak. It was the quiet of people who were waiting for others to reveal themselves. The Speaker of the Council rose from its crystalline throne. It was a massive being, its body made of shimmering facets of light that refracted in every direction. When it spoke, its voice echoed like 100 bells striking at once. "Humans," it began, "for decades you have benefited from our peace. You have walked among the stars because we allowed it. You trade on our routes, you use our stations, and yet you give nothing in return. You do not send fleets. You do not send tribute. You do not obey the order that holds this galaxy together." The words rang across the chamber. Many delegates nodded in agreement. Some hissed or growled in their native tongues. To them, Earth was a strange outlier, a planet that refused to kneel. The speaker's crystal eyes glowed brighter as it continued. "You are a selfish species. Today the Council decides. Either surrender your sovereignty and accept governance, under the Council's laws, or face the full force of our combined power." The silence that followed was heavy. All across the chamber, alien leaders leaned forward to see how the humans would respond. Some smiled with amusement, expecting tears and begging. Others whispered predictions that Earth would surrender quickly, like so many other young worlds had before. Ambassador Reyes did not move for several long moments. He looked to Patel, then to Carter, and finally raised his head toward the speaker. His voice, when it came, was calm. "Members of the Council," he said, "you speak of peace, yet you come with threats. You accuse us of selfishness, yet you demand that we give up our freedom to prove loyalty. Humanity has always been free. We did not cross the stars to kneel." Gasps broke across the chamber. A delegate from the reptilian Drakari hissed in anger. "Arrogant," it spat. "You have no fleets. You have no armies. Your little world will be crushed in days." But Reyes did not flinch. He allowed the insult to settle, then replied softly, "You think we are defenseless because we do not boast. You think we are weak because we do not parade our strength. Perhaps you mistake silence for weakness, but if you force our hand, you will learn that Earth has prepared more than you imagine." The words struck like a spark in dry wood. The chamber erupted in noise, laughter, outrage, disbelief. Some delegates mocked him openly. Others, however, shifted uncomfortably. There was something unsettling in the man's steady tone, in the way he spoke not as a desperate envoy, but as someone holding a secret. Dr. Carter finally spoke, her voice clear and steady. "We came here today hoping for peace. But if peace requires chains, then it is not peace at all. Humanity will never surrender its sovereignty. That is not arrogance. That is survival." The council speaker struck its staff against the floor, silencing the uproar. "So be it," it declared coldly. "The council shall vote. If Earth will not submit, Earth will be treated as a threat." In that moment, the humans stood alone in the vast chamber, surrounded by enemies who believed them weak. Yet in their calm faces there was no fear, only quiet certainty, as if they had been waiting for this day all along. The vote of the council chamber spread through the galaxy like a storm. News channels on thousands of worlds repeated the same headline: "Earth refuses to submit." For some it was a joke. For others, it was a warning. But for the humans standing in the center of the chamber, it was only the beginning. The great Crystal Speaker had just declared that Earth would face sanctions and possibly war. To most civilizations, this was a death sentence. But the humans did not tremble, they did not beg. They stood tall in the echoing silence that followed, their voices carrying across the vast hall. Ambassador Reyes stepped forward again. His eyes met the speaker's light, unblinking. "You believe you can make Earth bend," he said quietly. "But you are mistaken. Humanity does not kneel to threats." The delegates roared in outrage. The insectoid envoy from the Zektal slammed its claws against the table. "Arrogant primitives, you have no place in this council. Your planet is a speck of dirt compared to our empires. Do not pretend you can resist us." Commander Patel, who had remained silent until now, finally spoke. His voice was deep and steady, the voice of a soldier who had seen battles up close. "We do not pretend," he said. "We prepare. We learn. We remember. While your fleets fought each other, in endless wars we studied. While you boasted about strength, we worked in silence. You think we are defenseless because you have never seen our defense." A hush fell, though many still laughed bitterly. Yet some of the older delegates, veterans of long-forgotten wars, shifted uneasily. There was something familiar in the humans' tone. It was not bravado. It was conviction. Dr. Elaine Carter then raised her voice. Unlike Reyes or Patel, her tone was softer, but filled with emotion. "You ask us to surrender. You demand that we pay tribute. But have you ever asked why we resist? Humanity's story is one of survival. We faced storms, plagues, wars, and disasters. We nearly destroyed ourselves, yet we endured. Every time we were pushed down, we rose again. That is who we are. That is why we will not bend." The chamber buzzed with noise, but the humans stood unshaken. The speaker leaned forward, its crystal, body glowing brighter. "You speak bravely for a small world, but bravery cannot stop fleets. Words cannot stop war. If you do not obey, the galaxy will show you no mercy." Ambassador Reyes tilted his head, his expression calm. "And what if Earth shows the galaxy its mercy instead?" The words struck like thunder. For a heartbeat, no one spoke. Delegates glanced at one another in confusion. Mercy? What did a small world have to offer? Reyes continued. "You see us as a threat because you do not understand us. You believe strength is measured in how loudly one shouts or how proudly one parades armies. But humanity has never shouted. We have never shown our teeth unless cornered. And if you push us now, if you force us to reveal what we have hidden, the galaxy will see the truth." His words were not loud, but they carried across every corner of the chamber. Something in them felt heavier than any weapon. The Drakari general snarled in rage. "Empty threats, you cannot frighten us with riddles." Reyes simply turned to him, calm as ever. "It is not a threat, it is a promise." The chamber shook with noise once again, anger, fear, disbelief. The council called for order, but the humans remained still, like three shadows unmoved by the storm. In that moment, even those who mocked them could not deny a strange feeling in their hearts. Why were these fragile-looking beings so calm in the face of certain destruction? Why did their words sound less like defiance and more like truth? As the council prepared its final declaration, humanity's answer had already been spoken. Earth would never kneel. And somewhere deep in the hearts of those who listened, a quiet thought began to grow. Perhaps the humans were not as weak as they seemed. The council had spoken. Earth would face consequences. For the first time in the galaxy, multiple empires moved together with one purpose: to force a small isolated planet to bow. Armadas larger than cities, bristling with weapons, engines blazing with energy, were dispatched to the solar system. From the icy edges of the Kuiper Belt to the asteroid fields of Mars, fleets appeared, converging like predators on a small, unaware prey. Across the stars, billions watched the movement in awe. Many expected Earth to crumble. After all, no one had ever seen its fleets. No one had ever known its military strength. The galaxy believed that Earth's defenses were weak, that its weapons were primitive. Some laughed openly at the notion of resistance. "They will surrender in days," the news anchors said. their voices full of certainty. Yet on Earth the people were calm. Humanity had known this day would come. For decades they had prepared. Deep beneath oceans, hidden within, deserts and carved into asteroids, massive shipyards had been built. Factories, once thought abandoned, roared to life, producing materials and energy at rates that astonished even their own engineers. Scientists, engineers, and soldiers worked together in perfect harmony, as if every moment had been planned for this confrontation. Ambassador Reyes watched the news feed from the command center beneath the Rocky Mountains. His face was calm, but his eyes glimmered with the weight of responsibility. Beside him, Commander Patel moved among the officers, checking systems, inspecting fleets, and giving orders with quiet authority. Dr. Carter monitored communications and ensured that every message, every signal, stayed hidden until the right moment. The Council's fleets approached cautiously. Thousands of alien warships, each a monument of power, gathered at the edges of the solar system. Their sensors scanned the void for signs of humanity's defenses, but there was nothing. Only the cold darkness of space. Many of the alien commanders smiled at their luck, believing that Earth had no choice but to surrender. Their confidence was absolute, their arrogance complete. And then a single transmission cut through the void, clear and calm. Every fleet commander heard it. Every pilot froze in place, uncertain whether it was a joke or a mistake. "You wish to see our strength," Ambassador Reyes's voice said across trillions of kilometers, steady and unwavering. "Now you will." The silence after the message was deafening. No one moved. Even the fastest ships waited, unsure if the next second would bring destruction. In the command centers across Earth, humans barely breathed, watching as their preparations approached completion. Beneath the surface, hidden factories began to move enormous warships into position. Docking bays expanded, revealing massive vessels, previously invisible to every satellite and probe. The technology was unlike anything seen before. Ships with surfaces that absorbed light, armor that shimmered with energy, weapons capable of striking across light years. Humanity had been hiding, preparing, growing stronger than any empire had imagined. On the alien command ships, doubt began to spread. The smaller fleets murmured among themselves. "Where are their ships?" some asked nervously. "Why is there nothing to target?" But the answer was already moving. From behind Jupiter's moons, from the rings of Saturn, and from the shadowed regions of the Kuiper Belt, the first human vessels began to appear. They did not announce themselves. They did not send lights or flags. They emerged silently, perfectly, aligned as if the stars themselves had guided them into formation. The Council fleets continued forward, unaware of the trap awaiting them. Humanity had not come unprepared. They were not desperate. They were ready. And when the first human dreadnoughts revealed themselves, the galaxy would learn a truth no one could ignore. Earth was not a minor world. Earth was a force, even from millions of kilometers away. Ambassador Reyes watched the first warship slip into position and smiled faintly. Humanity's patience had lasted centuries, and now the galaxy would see that the quietest species often carries the fiercest strength. The cold emptiness of space suddenly changed. Where there had been nothing but darkness and distant stars, shapes began to emerge, silent, enormous, and perfectly aligned. At first, the alien fleets thought it was a trick of the sensors, a reflection from distant moons or asteroids. But as the shapes grew clearer, panic began to ripple through the ranks. From behind Jupiter's swirling storms, massive warships slipped into view. Their surfaces absorbed the light of distant stars, giving them a ghostly, almost invisible appearance, until they were close enough to be undeniable. These were no ordinary vessels. Their designs were unlike anything the galaxy had seen, sleek, angular, almost predatory, with energy cores that pulsed faintly like the heartbeat of some immense creature. Then more appeared. From the icy rings of Saturn, hidden asteroid fields, and even the shadowed edges of Neptune's orbit, fleets emerged in perfect formation. Thousands of ships, silently moving, creating a dark constellation of power. And at the center, larger than anything else, the dreadnought Erebus floated, a vessel so vast it seemed to swallow light. Its hull was black as void, its edges sharp and menacing. Even the most seasoned alien admirals had to pause, their claws, tentacles, or limbs frozen mid-command. The first human transmission echoed again, calm and deliberate, across the Council fleet's communications. "You wished to see our strength. Now it stands before you." The alien commanders exchanged confused glances. Some tried to recall the projections of Earth's capabilities, but no report, no study, no estimate had ever suggested anything like this. Humanity had hidden its forces perfectly. Every observer had been deceived. Every spy had returned with only empty data. The galaxy had been blind. Inside the human command centers, Ambassador Reyes watched quietly, a faint smile on his lips. Commander Patel monitored fleet positions, ensuring every vessel moved with precision, every formation perfect. Dr. Carter observed communications, filtering all Council attempts to retaliate. Humanity's unveiling was not chaotic. It was a symphony of preparation and patience. The alien fleets hesitated, their pride wrestling with fear. How could such a small, isolated planet produce such immense power? Ships larger than many capitals, weapons that pulsed with energy no one had ever seen, shields that seemed unbreakable, all appeared as if they had risen from legend rather than reality. One alien general, a massive armored figure from the Xylaran Empire, growled in disbelief. "This cannot be—" They lied. They were weak. How did they hide all this? Patel's voice came again over the long-range communications, cold and steady. "You measured us by what you saw. You assumed weakness because we did not flaunt strength. But we do, not parade. We do not boast. You will not see what we are capable of until the moment it matters." The realization spread like wildfire among the Council fleets. Every commander began to understand that they had misjudged Earth for centuries. The arrogance of the galaxy, the belief that humans were primitive, that their wars were local, that their technology was crude, was a lie built by ignorance, and now the truth stood before them, unyielding and undeniable. The dreadnought Erebus shifted slightly, and for the first time its weapons glowed faintly. It was a warning, a promise. The Council fleet sensed it without understanding why, a silent statement that this species was not only ready, but prepared to defend itself against the mightiest empires. Even from within the grand chamber of the Council, delegates felt it. The shock, the awe, the fear that surged quietly in their chests. Earth had revealed itself, not just as a planet, not just as a people, but as a force that no empire could underestimate. The galaxy, in that moment, learned a lesson that would echo across centuries. The smallest, quietest species could hold power beyond imagination, and the calmest voice often carried the heaviest weight. Humanity had spoken silently, but the message was clear. Do not mistake patience for weakness. The silence of space broke like a snapped string. For centuries, the galaxy had believed Earth was weak, that it posed no threat. Now that belief shattered in an instant. The alien fleets, confident and proud, advanced toward the human formation, their engines blazing, their weapons ready to unleash destruction. Every pilot, officer, and commander believed victory was certain. Yet even as they moved, a quiet tension began to spread. Something was wrong, something they could not see. The first alien warships fired. Beams of energy lanced through the void, aimed at the largest human vessels. The Council fleets expected resistance, but not this. The weapons struck invisible barriers, shimmering shields that absorbed and dispersed the deadly blasts. Sparks flickered across the energy fields, but the ships inside remained untouched, as if the attacks had been nothing more than light hitting a mirror. A murmur of confusion spread among the alien commanders. Some hesitated, calling off attacks. Others increased their firepower, only to meet the same result. The humans did not retaliate immediately. They waited, calm, patient, observing, calculating. Then the Erebus moved. The dreadnought, larger than anything the galaxy had known, shifted with a grace that defied its immense size. Its weapons, powered by technology unseen by other civilizations, glowed with a dark, pulsating energy. In a single, precise strike, it fired a beam that tore through a massive alien battleship. The ship disintegrated in moments, leaving only drifting wreckage. Communication channels went silent. The alien crews stared in disbelief. How could such power come from a planet they had always mocked? Humanity's fleets moved as one. From the shadows of the asteroid fields and the hidden regions of the solar system, hundreds of ships slipped forward. Each strike was deliberate, each movement precise. The humans did not fight like the Council fleets, which relied on brute force, intimidation, and numbers. Humans fought with strategy, intelligence, and patience. Every attack was calculated, every formation adaptive, every weapon used with lethal precision. In the alien command ships, fear spread. No training had prepared them for this. No simulations had predicted it. Ships that had crushed whole worlds now crumbled under the coordinated strikes of humans. The arrogant confidence that had filled the fleet melted into panic. Orders were shouted, countermeasures deployed, but humanity seemed always one step ahead. Even the council delegates watching the battle unfold through distant feeds were stunned. The speaker, a massive crystal entity, whispered almost to itself, They hid all this power, from us." Its voice trembled with a mixture of awe and fear. Ambassador Reyes stood in the command center beneath Earth, his face calm, but his eyes sharp. "Maintain formation," he ordered softly. Commander Patel nodded, coordinating the movements of thousands of vessels simultaneously. Every human ship moved as though it were an extension of one mind, one will, one purpose. Dr. Carter monitored communications, intercepting and analyzing the alien commands. "They are trying to regroup," she said. "But they are panicking. Our strike pattern is overwhelming them." The alien fleets tried to retreat, but the humans anticipated it. Pursuit ships moved silently, cutting off escape routes. Another battleship was destroyed with a single precise volley. Yet the humans offered no unnecessary cruelty. They fought to neutralize, not to humiliate. It was a display of power, of skill, of control, an unmistakable message. Earth would not kneel, but it would not strike without reason. As the first clash ended, the scale of the human revelation became clear. The galaxy had underestimated Earth, misjudged humanity, and ignored its potential. Now every ship, every officer, every world witnessing the battle understood. The quiet species, the small planet, had been hiding a storm of unimaginable power. The message was simple, undeniable, and terrifying. Humanity had prepared, humanity had patience, and humanity would not be underestimated. Back in the grand chamber of the Galactic Council, delegates watched the battle unfold on enormous crystal screens. What they saw shook them to their cores. Ships that had once been considered unstoppable were now drifting wrecks. Entire fleets had been disabled or destroyed in moments. The small humans, the species they had dismissed for centuries, moved with a precision, calm, and power that none could have imagined. The speaker, the massive crystal being whose voice had once thundered across the chamber, now trembled. Its facets flickered and shimmered in an erratic glow. How could they hide this?" it whispered, almost to itself. Its question was not rhetorical. No one knew. For centuries, humanity had appeared weak, vulnerable, and insignificant. Now the truth was undeniable. Earth had been preparing all along. Every fleet, every ship, every weapon had been concealed from the galaxy's gaze, hidden beneath oceans, deserts, and the cold shadows of space. Whispers spread across the council chamber. Some delegates were in disbelief, insisting that the feeds were faulty, that it was some clever illusion. But even those who doubted had to admit, the destruction was real, precise, and devastating. Humanity had not rushed into battle blindly. They had observed, calculated, and waited for the exact moment to reveal their strength. Ambassador Reyes remained calm in the human command center, even as alarms blared and energy readings spiked. His eyes were focused, his expression unreadable. "They are realizing their mistake," he said quietly to Commander Patel. "But we must maintain discipline. We cannot let arrogance provoke us into unnecessary conflict." Patel nodded. "Our mission is not to destroy. Our mission is to make them understand. If they choose to submit peacefully, that is our preference. If not..." He left the threat, unspoken, but the weight of it was felt in the room. The council speaker regained its composure, though its voice was quieter, tinged with fear. You have hidden a power that rivals entire empires, entire generations of study, preparation, and secrecy. And yet you stood among us silent and unassuming. Why did you not reveal yourselves earlier?" Reyes's voice was calm, steady, and clear. "We did not seek conflict. We did not seek dominance. Humanity values freedom. We prepare for survival, and we will fight if we must. But our goal has never been war. It has always been protection of our planet, our people, and our future. You judged us by appearances. That was your mistake." Some delegates in the chamber began to murmur, their tone shifting from anger to awe. Even the most proud and arrogant generals felt unease. They had underestimated a species that had hidden its power for centuries, and now they realized the consequences of that mistake. Outside, in the void of space, human fleets maintained perfect formation. The Council's fleets were scattered, damaged, and demoralized. Yet humanity did not press the attack further. The dreadnought Erebus floated like a dark sentinel, its weapons ready, but unmoving. The message was clear. The humans were not reckless. They fought not for conquest, but for respect. In the chamber, a young delegate from a distant star system whispered almost to themselves, "We have underestimated them. We have always underestimated them." Others nodded silently, their expressions a mixture of fear, respect, and wonder. Reyes spoke one last time to the council, his tone firm but not cruel. "You wished to make us kneel. You threatened our world. You expected weakness. Instead, you see what we truly are. We do not seek war, but we will defend ourselves. We do not boast, but we are ready. If the council values peace, then respect our sovereignty. If not..." His gaze swept across the chamber, steady and unwavering. "Then you will learn the cost of underestimating humanity." The words hung in the chamber like a shadow. For the first time, the Galactic Council felt something it had rarely experienced: genuine awe and fear. Humanity was no longer a minor world. Humanity was a force the galaxy could not ignore, a species whose patience and preparation had shattered centuries of assumptions. And in that realization, the Council knew one truth above all: the galaxy would never look at Earth the same way again. The battle was over, but its echoes would last for centuries. The Council fleets, battered and demoralized, retreated to the far edges of the galaxy. Ships that had once represented the might of entire empires now floated as drifting wreckage, reminders of their misjudgment. Across thousands of star systems, civilizations watched in awe, disbelief, and fear. Humanity had revealed its strength, and the galaxy would never be the same. Back on Earth, Ambassador Reyes, Commander Patel, and Dr. Carter stood together in the command center. The room was quiet, almost serene. Outside the reinforced glass, the hidden fleet rested in formation, silent and still, like a dark ocean waiting for the next storm. No celebrations erupted. Humanity had no desire to flaunt victory. Their point had been made, their message delivered. Respect and sovereignty were not gifts to be demanded. They were rights to be earned through preparedness, courage, and patience. Reyes spoke softly to his team. "They will remember this day. They will understand that humanity cannot be ignored, cannot be underestimated. But our work is not finished. We must remain vigilant, always ready, always united." Patel nodded. "We showed them our strength without destruction. We fought strategically, not recklessly. That is what sets us apart," Dr. Carter added. "And we've shown the galaxy that humanity values life, We fight to defend, not to conquer. That message, it will spread. Far across the stars, the Galactic Council convened again. The speaker, still shimmering with fractured light, addressed the assembly. The humans have surpassed all expectations. They have hidden fleets that rival our combined strength. They have demonstrated precision, patience, and judgment unlike any species we have known. Earth must be treated not as a minor world, but as an equal, or more. Delegates murmured in agreement. Even the most proud generals, who had once mocked humanity, felt the weight of humility. They began to realize something profound. For centuries, they had measured strength by size, by firepower, by conquest. Humanity had taught the galaxy a different lesson. Strength was not only in numbers or aggression, it was in unity, preparation, and the willingness to defend one's people without arrogance or recklessness. In the weeks that followed, the galaxy adjusted. Trade routes reopened, alliances shifted, and diplomatic channels once hostile became cautious and respectful. Earth's name carried weight now, not as a minor planet, but as a force that could not be ignored. Younger worlds, oppressed and overlooked, began to look to humanity as a symbol of hope, a species that had risen without domination, that had prepared without provocation, that had defended without cruelty. Yet humanity remained quiet. The fleets returned to hidden stations in the outer planets and asteroid belts. They did not demand tribute. They did not issue threats. They simply existed, ready and patient, like a sleeping giant whose eyes had just opened. Ambassador Reyes reflected on the events, knowing that the galaxy had changed forever. We did not need to conquer to be respected. We did not need to fight endlessly to be feared. We simply needed to be ready. And now, the galaxy knows. Humanity cannot be ignored. Commander Patel smiled faintly. They will remember restraint as well as strength. That is something many species have never understood. Dr. Carter added quietly, and they will remember hope. We've shown that even a small, quiet species can rise and command respect without surrendering its soul. In the vast darkness of space among stars and planets, hidden fleets and silent stations, Earth's message rang true. Freedom, preparation, and courage are the greatest strengths a species can hold. The galaxy had witnessed it. The galaxy had learned it. And humanity, calm and patient, had forever changed the way the stars themselves viewed power, respect, and survival. The lesson was simple, yet profound. Underestimate humanity, and the consequences would be unimaginable. But respect humanity, and hope could thrive across the universe. Humanity had spoken. The galaxy had listened. And the universe would never be the same again.